Hello, I'm Dennis O'Donnell, Vice President of Precision PCB Services. And today I just wanted to go over basically the software operation of an SRT 1000. This unit here is the SRT 1000. It's a little bit older unit. The software is similar to it's also used on the SRT 1100, the 1100HR. It was pretty much used on models up to the 2000, 2001. Then the machines are upgraded, and the software is a little bit similar, but they have new features. So this will just get you a general idea of how the software works. So right now, we're at the main screen. And what we have here is we can select our board here on the left. This is our board. It's our component, and this is our sequence. Along at the top of the screen, you have a bunch of dialog boxes. And whether you're going to be programming the machine or just operating, we can turn those dialog boxes on and off. And you can put them in a password. So if you have an operator that you want to just operate the machine, then you would only be able to access this screen. If you have somebody that you want to be able to change the profiles or program the machine, then you would turn this on, and we would use these dialog boxes up at the top to do our programming. So first off, if I'm going to go to a machine, I want to select my board. My board's here. We can change the board. And so right now, let's just say we're going to do a demo board. I'll go down here and see if we can find our SRT demo. Here we are, SRT demo board. So we're just okay, load our board in. Again, we can pick our component site. These are generic. It's a BGA 225. I can pick a BGA 169. And so with this machine, you can program your board name. You can put your board serial number, your board assembly number. You can do your component site. You can say it's a BGA 169, or you can say it's location U2, or you can even put the part number. Maybe it's a Xilinx XCV 1000. So, and I'll show you how to program it a little bit later. Right now, I just want to get the machine functioning. And then we have our sequences over on this side as our sequences. So do we want to just reflow the site? If we just want to heat up the chip and reflow it, we would reflow the site. If we want to change that, we can go change. And the screen will come up, and then we can select from, if we want to pick a component and place it. We just want to place a component and reflow it. We want to place the component and release it and reflow it. We just want to reflow site. Do we want to remove the component? They have remove zero force, where it removes with a lighter force, a lighter vacuum, so you don't rip pads off. So for right now, we can go and say, well, we want to pick the component and place it. This is just a pick and place. If we want to pick the component up and place it and then reflow it, we would go place, reflow. So right now I've picked my board, I've picked the component site that I want to use, and I've picked the sequence. We're going to place, reflow. And so what this will do is this will pick up the component and go through our alignment sequence and then reflow it. I'm not going to go through the mechanicals today on the machine operation. I just want to show you the software and explain some things about it. So just select go. So what happened, our head is going to move over here. And then our light's going to come on. Let's see if we can get the board in center here. So just for demonstration purposes, we can see our chip in the window. What I want you to see is as we go through the sequences, you have instructions on the bottom here. So as you're doing this, the machine walks you through and tells you what to do or what you're doing. So right now, we just went we did our initial step of our pickup, and it says the machine says center the site in the window. Press go to continue. So right now it's showing our components already in the screen, and it's going to tell us align part. It's already picked up and in the screen, so it'll say align part. Press go to continue. And so we can align our part and then press go. And then it's going to place the component. The component's placed. And now it's going to start its sequence. So it's going to tell you down here in this dialog box what it's doing. It's waiting for the bottom heater to reach preheat stage. So I'm going to stop it there. I just want to show you how the machine explains to you or tells you what it's doing each step of the way. Okay, so we stop. We press stop to discard the component. Tells you it's discarding the component on the bottom. All right, we're done. Okay, so it's got it's back to the main screen. So now if I want to set up a profile on this, I'm going to put the arrow here in the gray area. I'm going to double click on the gray area, and then my dialog box will come across the top here. And so what I want to do, I'm going to set a profile. I'll click on process, then I'll click on times and temps. Then my profile screen comes up. So what we have is we have settings for the preheat, and we have settings for the reflow. We have our what we call our ramp, or how fast it's going to heat up. Then we have our top heater set point and our bottom heater set point. What I like to do is I like a ramp of 1 degree per second. So I'm going to go 1 degree, 1, 1. Well, this tells me this is a ramp of 1 degree per second. So the machine's going to heat up gradually 1 degree per second. And this will give us a nice heat up to be able to preheat our board, not to run everything too fast. It allows our board to absorb the heat. And then I'm going to go to the reflow settings. I'm going to use the same profile, 1, 1. So my preferred setting, I like to do things slow and allow everything to absorb the heat. 1, 1 is pretty much what I use on all boards. Some companies, they'll use a faster ramp. They might use a 2, 1 or a 3, 1. What happens is if you use a faster ramp, then you have to turn your heaters up higher because you're sort of forcing the board to heat rather than allowing it to absorb the heat. So we're going to use a gradual heat. So if I'm doing, say, a lead-free board, I want to get my lead-free solder up to around 230, maybe 240. Make sure I get a good reflow across the chip. And so initially I want to heat my board itself before reflow to probably around 150 to 180 C. And so what I'll do is I'm going to use a bottom heat here of around 250. Let's do 260. So I'm going to set a bottom heat of 260. We'll do a top heat of 260. And so just because we set it at 260 doesn't mean the board's going to heat up to 260 because there's a space between the board and the heaters, and there's a little differential there. So your board's not going to actually heat up to 260. But I'm hoping that at a 260 top and bottom preheat, I'm hoping my board will come up to around 220, 200, 220. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, 260 top, 260 bottom, and then once it reaches that, once both heaters reach 260, then I'm going to hold it for 40 seconds. And you can do anywhere 30 to 60 seconds is average. Right now I'm just going to hold it for 40 seconds, and I'm just going to watch and make sure that the board absorbs all the heat. So now let's go down to our reflow settings. And again, I'm going to do my step is 1, my dwell is 1, so that's going to 1 degree per second. It's going to increase. And normally with a lead-free, you're going to, depending on the thickness of your board, if it's a small board, you don't need as much heat. If it's a thick board, you may need more heat. An average board, I would probably say go 290 and 290. The highest this bottom heater on this particular unit goes up, I think, is 300. Some of the newer machines, if you get a bigger heater, they can go up to 350, 400. We want to get that overall board heated up so that the chip bonds to the board well. And then I'll just set this, after it reaches its, both heaters come up to 290, then we're going to go ahead and hold it for 60 seconds to make sure we get a good reflow. So what I'll do is when I'm putting the chip on, I'll put a thermocouple on the bottom of the board under the chip. And with the lead-free part, I would like to see that come up to between 230 and 250 bottom side board temperature right under the chip. And then we could watch with a light or a camera and make sure that our balls are reflowing and see what temperature they're reflowing at. And so once you're doing it, when you're doing a first board, you may take a few tries. You might have to increase the heat. You might have to lower the heat. It depends on the board. But this is those times if I'm doing a lead-free profile on a medium-sized board, this is where I would be starting at. So I've got my preheat settings done. I've got my reflow settings done. I've got my dwell time set. You can do things like additional post removal time, post placement time. I usually leave this at 0. There's a solidification time, and that's if you're removing a BGA chip and the solder is molten. You can allow it. I usually allow it 10 seconds for the solder to cool down before it places the chip on the net on the metal, so we don't get any sticking of the solder to the metal on the machine. Again, up here, when we're in the screen, we can go and we can change our boards. Up here, we can change our board, we can change our component, we can change our sequence. So right now, what I'm going to do is, this is the demo board. I've changed all the sequences. Different machines have different additional process steps you can have. I'm not going to get into that because it's a little more complex, but you can go to more process steps. And on this particular machine, I just want to make sure all my process steps are set to 0 because I don't want to add any more process steps. So we're not going to go into that. It's a little more complex. So we're just going to keep it simple today, because most people, when you're running the machine program profile, this is all you'll need. You won't need the fancy stuff. This will do 99.9% of the boards that you need to do is working in this screen. So I'm going to click Save. And now let's just say we want to reflow the site. I don't want to pick it up. I just want to reflow. We placed the component earlier. Let's go reflow site. That's okay. I'm going to run. And again, it's going to tell me center the board in the video screen. Press go to continue. And so now it's telling me what it's doing. Down here it's saying it's waiting for the bottom heater to reach 255. Once the bottom heater reaches 255, that means it's heated. Then the top nozzle is going to come down and the top heater is going to turn on. I'll show you a few tricks that you can do with this machine. If you see right here, across the top of the screen, there's a black line. And there's another black line up here. So you take the arrow right in between the two lines, double click, you'll get a little command screen that comes over here alongside the video screen. And you can do things like you can take a snapshot of a board. I can move my heater up and down manually. It's just up, down for the heater. I can turn my vacuum on and off. And so basically, I can move the prisms in and out. And we'll do a second video down the road where we actually do all this stuff and show you how the machine works. But basically this brings up a whole set of manual commands. So if for some reason you want to move the head up and down during the process to check something, or move the pickup tooth up and down, you can do some manual commands. Again, our bottom heater is wrapping up here. These bottom heaters are pretty massive. There's a lot of metal to them, so it takes a few minutes for them to heat up and come to temperature. And I like to get my bottom heater pretty close to temperature, which I said we're doing 260, then we'll ramp up 30 more C to 290. So since these bottom heaters take a while to heat up, I prefer to get my bottom heaters hot in the preheat stage. I don't want to sit here and set my bottom heater at 200 and then have it go up 90 C to get to the reflow. Well, then the top heater will be hotter faster, and we'll be putting a lot of heat on the top of the board before the bottom is hot. And I don't like to put a lot of heat on the component if we don't have to. So we're going to stop this and show what we want to show you. And that's pretty much it on how to operate the software on this machine. We can close this. You go back to our main screen. Now I'll recap one more time. When we're going to rework a board, first thing we want to do is we want to select our board. Then we want to select our component. Then we want to select our sequence. So decide whether we're going to pick and place. And this older machine, the newer machines, they'll have it a little bit more detail, say pick, place, reflow, pick, place, release. And pretty much the commands are pretty simple. They're just telling you what the machine is going to do, and you decide what you want to do on it. Do I want to pick a component and place it? Do I want to pick a component and heat it up and reflow it? Do I want to remove the component? We can go remove here. And all this stuff is programmable, and I'm not going to get too much into that because that's up to the engineer to do, but I'll just show you a few things. Let's go back to, let me show you again. I'm going to double click on the gray, bring up my command screen. Let's go to board. So say if I want to do a new board, I can enter a new board name here. I can pick up the thickness of the board, and if I want to know how, I can put how many layers if I want to have that in there. The vision system on this, when you're aligning the component to the board, it focuses the component and the board based on the component thickness and the board thickness. So the one thing I'm going to want to do here when I enter the board name, I'm going to want to put my board thickness in. The weight index isn't as critical because I'm not using auto profile. I'm going to do manual profile. I prefer manual profile. I don't like to do auto profile on these machines. But so at least I want to put my board thickness in there. I can put, assembly number 201200 if that's the assembly number. It's an 062 thickness, maybe 4 to 6 layer board. And then I can save. I can click OK, and then I'll save it. Again, the thing I want to emphasize is it doesn't matter if you put double-sided 6, 8, 10. That's for your own reference. The important thing is that you get the board thickness there because that's what the machine is going to be operating off of. Same thing for my component. I can go to component. I can add the board. And I could do a custom part. Maybe this is a Xilinx XCV 2000. I can put which nozzle I'm using if I have, what size nozzle, if it goes by letter or a number. I can mark if it's a square nozzle or a rectangular nozzle. I can put the XY dimensions of the component. But again, the critical thing here, I want the component height, the thickness from the top of the package to the bottom of the ball, because that's what my machine is going to be setting the focus off of. And so if things aren't focused, then we have to manually focus. So that's, if we save our component, we'll have all the info there. And I'll just cancel this. I'm not putting a new component in right now. Oh, let me miss one thing that's important. Again, add the board, custom part. once we do add a new component in here, and we want to add this, click that box, you want to add it to your standard list of part types. So if you want to add that component to another board later, it's going to be in your standard list of part types. We'll cancel this. Again, we have our process times and temps. Again, I'm not going to get into a lot of this stuff because you probably won't be able to use it down the road, but we can go to setup. We go IO Diagnostics. And this is basically if I'm working on the machine, I'm troubleshooting a machine that's not working, I can manually run everything. I can turn my top heater air on. I can turn my top heater, my top heater on once the air is running. We don't want to turn our heater coil on when the air is not running. Turn my vacuum on. I can move my heater up and down. And so basically I could do any of these commands here. Over here on this right-hand side where it says digital inputs, it tells me if my sensors are open or closed, or true or false. So right now, it's my vacuum sensor. Let's look at number 22, vacuum sensor. It says false. Let's turn on our vacuum. Let's see, top heater air. Let's do our pickup motor on. That one's not working. So let's go ahead to prism to view position. There we go. Now it says my pickup sensor is true. We can turn our top heater SSR on. Oh, we need to turn our flow on first. There we go. Oh, come on. I'll also tell you if you're doing something wrong, so that's good. So, here, let's go back up here. Let's go turn our air on. Now it just showed my air heater flow is true. I turn the air off. Again, it goes to false. So watch this. On, true, off, false. So basically, this is just going to tell you as you run into things if the contactors and sensors are operating accordingly. Again, here we have our thermocouple inputs. So if I want to test my heaters, say if I want to test my bottom heater, I can put a thermocouple inside my bottom heater. I can turn my top air on. I can turn my bottom heater contactor on. And so what this is going to do is going to start heating up the bottom heater, and then I should see my bottom heater start to heat up. Since we don't have a thermocouple here, I'm not going to show you that right now, but I'm just explaining. We'll do another video later on, and we'll do a full view and operate the machine and show you what we're talking about. Right now, I'm just trying to get you a close-up of the screen so you know how to work the software. So let's reset the system, turn all this stuff off. You can close this. Let's go back up to our command screen here. Let's turn on our video. Open our video. And again, let's see what we can do. Put our prism in. I just put our prism in. Now let's turn our light on, part lighting, board lighting. Turn the part lighting on. So we got our board lighting on. If I want to get rid of these crosshairs, I can just double click on them. Oh, this one doesn't do it. This is the newer machines. If you double click, your crosshairs will go. So anyway, let's say if I wanted to take maybe I had this component removed and I want to take a picture of the BGA pads, I can take a snapshot. And this will save into a file on the computer. I can go view snapshot, go open it. These are different snapshots. There we go. So this is a picture of our snapshot. So this is basically in a document. Maybe there's solder mask missing on a pad, or a pad doesn't look right, and we want to document something. We can take pictures and keep them in a file on the computer. Let's close this. Well, that's pretty much the basic software setup of the machine and how to operate it. And like I said, this will be the same for your 1000s, your 1100s, your 1100 HRs, and then they start to upgrade the software on the newer machines. And you'll probably find some videos. Now the machines are called BGA Electronics, and they have some operational videos on their machines. The newer, higher-end models machines are more complex. They're not as easy to use, so you need a little more training on those. But that wraps it up, our software training for our SRT 1000 here at Precision PCB Services. I'm Dennis O'Donnell, Vice President, and I provide training, profile development. We also do machine calibration and repair, troubleshooting, and we work on all models of machines. We work on SRT, BGA Electronics, Conceptronic, APE, Zumal, Shuttlestar. We are a distributor of Shuttlestar and Zumal BGA Rework Stations. So if you're in the market for something new at a low cost, give us a call. You can reach me at toll-free number 888-406-2830. That's 888-406-2830. And again, thanks for watching. Glad you joined us. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me, type, text, email me. Be happy to do what I can to help you out. Have a great day.